So one of my buddies said, "Hey, listen, it stinks what's going on right now, but there's going to be opportunity to come. We're going to be able to buy properties cheap." This was towards the end of '09. And he's like, "Come intern with me. Let me show you how to wholesale, how I flip, how I do real estate investing." So because I had a little bit of capital, I was able to sustain myself. I took on this internship, and it was unpaid for the first like 3 or 4 months
Right.
while I was learning. However, I started learning wholesaling. And brother, I started from the bottom, putting out bandit signs around properties. I don't know if you remember,
Oh, I've
wholesaling
done it.
back then was bandit signs and street marketing and doing all of that. So kind of got in from the ground level, and really saw a different perspective to real estate, starting it that way, and then especially starting in a time where everybody was recovering, the market was recovering. So
Right.
we were seeing just properties going for 15, 20, 30,000. I mean, just incredible pricing, but there was still opportunity. And that showed me that even in a down market, you can make money, because we started wholesaling to other investors and making money in 2010
Right.
when everybody else wasn't, right? And there was still a lot of recovery happening.
Yeah, I think recovery took all the way to 2012 is when things kind of like started turning around and the market started being healthier, because
Yeah.
I started in 2008. So I bought my first property in 2008,
Mm,
and then I bought a bunch of them in between 2008 and 2012. Now I didn't have a mentor. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So I paid the streets pretty much, right? And most of it was on the general contracting portion of it. When I was
mm.
going to go do the rehabs, those are the guys that took my cookie away, I would say. But I bought them so discounted that even later on, a few years later, I was still doing okay.
Yeah.
And because that I understood that if I got it enough equity up front in time, it will make up for your losses. So,
Yeah.
and in 2012 is when I saw some sort of like regular buyers were being approved now for loans, and prices were coming up a little bit. So um, now you started wholesaling, and
Mhm.
where do you grow from there?
So started wholesaling. So almost all of 2010, I was wholesaling. And so started seeing what that was, wholesaling to other investors, investors that were in the market picking up rentals. And then at the end of 2010, I decided, okay, well, this is great. This is awesome wholesaling. However, I want to take the next step and get into fix and flip. So at the end of 2010, I bought my first property over in South Tampa. I still remember it's Southwest Shore Boulevard. Bought it for $51,000
Wow.
and got a hard money loan, which back then they were expensive, but I got a hard money loan.
Six,
Um,
16, 17% interest. I
Dude, it was like
remember.
15 and 5 points. I don't.
Yeah.
It was crazy. However, it did show me the power of leveraging, right? Because I was able to get that. I got into the deal for like 30 or 35,000, bought it for 51, spent like 29, 30,000 in renovations. So you got to figure all in about 80. And then I sold it for 135 into a regular VA buyer. So I
Wow.
was like, wow, dude, I just made like 42 grand. I was hooked. I was like, I'm not going to do anything else. This is awesome. I'm going to continue to do this. And so
Right.
from then on, brother, that real estate bug for flipping really, really got a hold of me. So 2011 kept that going, had a few more flips that year. And then in 2012 is when I really started ramping up and really heavily buying. And I think in 2012, we did about 30, 35 flips. And then it was
That's about three a
years from
month. That's
there.
pretty good.
Yeah, 13, we did about 70 or 80. And then 14, 15, man, we were crushing it over 100 a year. Just multiple project managers, good processes. And then again, 2016, just confronted with some additional challenges that caused me to kind of take a step back as well. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And so let's talk about challenges because um, most people that listen or watch this podcast, they think that no, like we don't have any challenges. Like, okay, these guys are on the rise all the time, like, and now they're multimillionaires or whatever, and that's actually far from being the truth in most of us. Like,
Yeah.
can we become multimillionaires? Of course, yeah. Like on paper, I think that's the first way you become a multimillionaire. it's on the equity on these properties that we acquire. But our lives are like cycles, and whether you're going through a 2008 or a 2016 on your case, and on my case was 2017 to 2020,
Mm.
how are you able to adjust to those challenges? Like what is it that you've done personally to say maybe right now is a chance to step back? As you said, in 2016 I stepped back, right?
Yeah.
Like what is it that you look at and you say, I need to stop right now doing what I'm doing? And maybe you're doing it at the top when you're like completely at the top, and now you have a full blown business running with a bunch of people and a bunch of moving parts. How do you make that assessment?
You got to look at yourself. For me, it was self-evaluation. So at the end of 15, I just had my best year in real estate. Okay. Made the most money I think I've ever made in my life in 2015. However, my personal life was in shambles, brother.
Okay.
I was going through a divorce, and that was wrecking me. So my focus, my perspective on things that were happening within the business were not 100% dialed in. So what happened at that point? I started taking my eye off the business
Of course, you get
and
distracted.
being distracted and really not fully paying attention to what was going on. So that just again opened up a whole other can of worms for me within the business, to where, you know, a lot of projects going on at once, 20 plus renovations. You got to have that dialed in.
Yeah.
You've got to know exactly where everything's going. So because I kind of took my foot off the gas and got distracted with life situations, I had to just take a step back and say, okay, well, this is getting out of hand. I need to finish off what I've got and then really just take a break and reorganize and figure out what Carlos is going to do moving forward. And then in 2016, me and my wife ended up getting a divorce, like paper signed, wrote her a check, like we were done living separate. And so for me, Ricardo, that was like kind of my rock bottom. Uh, Prior to that, I had really chased money and let my pride and ego get the best of me. And that caused me to go down that road of divorce and really being stubborn and not wanting to make true changes in my life to keep my family and to do the things. And my priorities were just wrong. So it took that losing my family, business going, you know, down because of taking my eye off the ball to really say, hey, man, what am I doing? And I had to dig in and start addressing issues and things in my life that I needed to fix. And, you know, for me, it was getting to a point where I got on my knees and I was just praying to the Lord and saying, God, I need you. I'm done doing it Carlos's way. I'm done trying to go about it in my own strength. And so when I did that, brother, not only did I feel a tremendous peace after that, but then I started seeing God's amazing grace and restoration in my life.